Hello, and welcome to Bare Necessities, and today we're going to be talking about the dupes. The entire EverQuest franchise over the last few months has fallen victim to dupes. For those who don't know what a dupe is, it's essentially an exploit where you can duplicate items, and this leads to duplicating money in-game. I didn't discuss this at all on the channel, but about a month ago a dupe started occurring on Varsoon in EQ2. Whenever this dupe started, everyone started realizing that every chrono on the server was being bought up on the broker, and of course the price of chrono started skyrocketing. People started experimenting. Let me see if I can list a chrono for 5,000 plat, literally 6,000 times higher than the market price. And boom, it gets bought. So people start listing higher than that, and then they buy all the chronos that people listed lower. And then they rinse and repeat until they've made hundreds and hundreds of chrono. The dupers keep buying them and laundering them by spreading them across accounts and giving plat to just random people. So what happened on the Varsoon server? Well, the dupe was eventually fixed. I think it took about a week, maybe, to fix it. By this time, the economy on Varsoon was just completely busted. I do think a number of people got banned or suspensions, but at this point, the damage had already been done. A lot of people said, well, the economy eventually will even out, things will be fixed, etc. So I actually went and checked in on how things were doing about a month later. I loaded up my game in a patch this morning just to see where chrono sits now. It's currently now 2,000 plat, which is about 500% of what it was before the dupe began. So none of the plat got removed, none of the chrono got removed, and honestly, for a decent number of people that I used to play EverQuest 2 with, this was their final straw, and now they don't play the game. So let's go back to about a week ago. The dupe is found with the trade skill Depot in EverQuest 1. This allowed people to duplicate very expensive items like Velium bars and blue diamonds, vendor them all, and make millions and billions of plat. But what happens when this occurs? Exactly the same thing as EQ2. People buy up all the chronos at high value, people start listing them at even higher values, people buy up expensive items on the bazaar, people flip chrono, and the economy is busted. So what happened? Well, the dupe was fixed a few days later, but the economy is already busted. And to all those who say it will eventually even out, please use the EQ2 example to see where it actually even out to. If you call 500% inflation evening out, then have at it. However, in EQ1, I feel like there's almost a greater impact because EQ1 encourages boxing since the combat in this game is a little bit more elementary, so running 3 accounts is actually pretty simple, and some people even run 6 accounts. There are a ton of people that run these boxes and go out and farm expensive items or farm plat and use that to keep their account subs active. Unfortunately, that just doesn't really work anymore. Unless you are one of the people who flipped chrono like I mentioned in both dupes, you probably won't be able to afford much on the bazaar, and farming for plat just won't work if you're trying to buy chrono every month. Also, the high value items that you can camp to sell for straight chrono become more and more scarce. I guess one upside is that raids are larger, so people quitting affects guilds a bit less than they do in EQ2. I know that in our EQ2 guild, there was just no way to stem the bleeding of people quitting and no way of recruiting enough to stay ahead of it. It was a very defeating process. Alright, so dupes in both games, server economies ruined, lots of people quitting the game. So has Darkpaw handled it well? It definitely could have handled it better, so let's come up with a list of things they can do in the future if this occurs again. Their response needs to be faster. They released a letter yesterday saying they responded with the urgency and gravity that the situation demanded as soon as feasibly possible. This is a little concerning to say the least, as they just experienced with EQ2, an economy can crumble within a matter of days. Their response really needs to be quicker in the future. Just fully take the servers down, fix the issue while it's small and cleanup is minimal, and then put the servers back up. Devs and community managers are notified of these issues by the player base extremely fast because players know how it affects things. The Darkpaw staff needs to respond and have standard operating procedures for these type of things. It shouldn't be that complicated. The response needs to be stronger. Most people found to be duping only received a 7-day suspension so far. These offenders should likely be banned. If you don't have consequences for actions like this that are strong and swift, then it incentivizes cheaters and exploiters. It enables them to do it more. You have to have consequences that will stop this behavior. And number 3, the response needs to fix the issue. Here's where I can kinda say that they did the best that they could do because they failed number 1 and 2. The problem with waiting too long is the chrono and the plat is just too large of a task to track. The devs at Darkpaw likely don't have the capacity to track down all of this, so they just kind of let it go and accept the consequences. The second problem with waiting too long is that if they roll back, that will upset the player base potentially more than the dupe itself. Raids have happened, people have gained AAs, etc. Rolling that back would be awful for the player base as well. I'll tangent here and say I don't really know the working conditions at Darkpaw. In the same way that Darkpaw tries to incentivize the player base to keep logging in every day, EG7 has to incentivize Darkpaw to handle situations better. For all we know, all the engineers and staff at Darkpaw are paid super under market, they have no metrics or incentive to develop processes around handling these situations, and if that's the case, then why should they really care? I really don't know their situation, but I do know the player bases. And honestly, we're really disheartened at the moment. And there are just lots of games out there to play. New World has a new expansion, World of Warcraft has Season of Discovery coming, Final Fantasy XIV has a new expansion coming, Monsters and Memories is making great progress, PAX Day is on the horizon. Part of staying competitive in today's market is your response to bugs, glitches, and exploits, and Darkpaw needs to adjust their processes to handle these more efficiently in the future, or they're going to lose some loyal players. Hopefully they take this video and these steps to heart, and in the future, we can have a better experience. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.